Maybe it's DK Metcalf's revenge game against the team he began his career with. This a week after Aaron Rodgers at 41 threw the most touchdowns in the league week one. The only quarterback with 4 touchdowns, doing it against one of his former teams in the Jets. Good mobility, 3 of those touchdowns outside the pocket. He enters today 1 away from tying Brett Favre for the 4th most touchdown passes in NFL history. Rodgers, Favre, obviously all the history there. Sal Paolantonio there to watch it in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. Sal, you were there for Rodgers' debut last week. What should we expect from him today against Seattle?
Yeah, so we're in Pittsburgh this morning, Michael, and sometimes a headline just does it for you. It tells you the whole story. This is a quote right here from Aaron Rodgers about DK Metcalf. He's all about the right stuff. And when you look at what happened last week, DK Metcalf had 7 targets, most on the team, and he had 4 catches. All of them went for first downs. But you dig a little deeper into what the Steelers did on offense, and you see that Aaron Rodgers was so good on play action. 9 of 11 on play action for 102 yards. 3 of his touchdown passes came on play action. As we know, it's been the hallmark of his career. 136 touchdown passes out of play action, most of any quarterback since Aaron Rodgers became a starter in 2008. And the screen game last week, 9% of their offense called by Arthur Smith was in the screen game, most in the league in week 1. So it's kind of remarkable. I've been covering the league for 32 years, and I've never seen anything like this, where you have a quarterback from the East Coast. Aaron Rodgers comes from the Jets. DK Metcalf comes from Seattle, all the way from the West Coast. You put them in a new offense, and they coordinate so quickly. The chemistry, the coordination, the communication has been really terrific in just a short order that they could get this together. Today, however, against Seattle, much different defense with Mike Macdonald than Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, uber aggressive. Mike Macdonald will sit back in that 2-deep cover shell and make you earn every yard. So the Steelers know, 1, they got to protect Aaron Rodgers better than they did last week, and they've got to run the football better. Only 2.7 yards per carry last week against the Jets. But amazing what they've done in such a short period of time here in Pittsburgh on offense, Michael.
All right, Sal, you'll have an interview with DK Metcalf as he gets set for this matchup against his former team coming up. But Alex, as we looked at many different ways at what Aaron did last week against the Jets, one of the things you said was he looks like he's buying in. What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly, Greeny. Listen, there's this narrative about Aaron that that he has to have it his way, right? That he's entitled, he's stuck in his old ways. Rex, you love to grill him on this, and I just think it couldn't be further from the truth. He has really bought into this Arthur Smith offense, and it's paid dividends, especially week 1. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Going up to the screen here. Okay. Going up to the screen here. Look out, Teddy. Here we go. Okay, this is from last week. Again, Aaron Rodgers, now he's wearing the black and gold. And where do we find him in this Arthur Smith offense? Under center, right? We haven't seen him there in a while. Hard play action fake. Look at the effect it has on these linebackers. Watch the defensive end backside. Again, here we are, tackling the running back. And look at this guy, right? In the trail position already, trying to trail his coverage. Obviously, that walks into the end zone for an easy score. Again, haven't seen this in a long time. This is later in the game. Again, hard play action pass. Look at the effect. And look at the backside corner. Getting bad eyes here into the backfield, read and run. Jump pass by the old man, 41-year-old, into the corner for another touchdown. Right, you heard Sal Powell say it. 3 of his 4 touchdowns on play action pass movements, right? We didn't see any of this from the Jets the last couple years. This guy can still do it. I just think it's a sign. Listen, this marriage with Arthur Smith, they want to run the football. They want to play action pass. This guy can still do it, even though he's getting a little older.
You know, I would really want to talk about what Sal talked about Aaron Rodgers and the right stuff. The right stuff meaning DK Metcalf. I remember we showed at the beginning of SportsCenter of the plays that DK Metcalf was able to make last week. And I said, one thing about DK Metcalf when he came into the National Football League, big body, big presence, so what? He can only go downfield. Well, what did you show last week? I wish they could put some highlights up from what he did last week. Being able to put the ball in this young man's hand and making him get somewhere, making the defense tackle him. Sal Powell said that Coach Macdonald was going to sit back in that cover two shell, keep everything in front of you. So you know what I expect? The same stuff from last week. week. Put the ball in DK Metcalf's hand. If there's one particular route against cover 2, Rex, it'd be a cover 2 because that's what tore your defense up.
Oh, my goodness. All I know is they better play some run defense because I think if you're going to play all that cover 2, I expect Pittsburgh to run the ball. I think it's going to look a lot different this week. But I do agree with you, Alex, I haven't seen this from Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I never expected it. I don't think anybody did, but he looked healthy. And, yeah, he's buying in, but they've got to be able to run the football. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers of old. Look, Aaron looked like the Aaron Rodgers of old, but the Steelers themselves, what they, pride themselves on, the steel curtain, man. Look, they gave up 129 more rushing yards to the Jets than they gained during that game. Hardly steel curtain numbers. So, to me, I think they got to get back to the basics, run the football, especially against that cover 2 shell, Randy, and that's what I expect in this game.
And Aaron's, you're just not going to have that type of production from your quarterback every single
week.
No
question.
Right.
Yep. No question.
I was like, it's not an anomaly, but it's like, whoa. I mean, where did this come from? This isn't the team I expected. I mean, I like I said last week, really high expectations for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. But if there's one unit I want to watch from week 1 to week 2, it's the Steelers defense because that was not what I'm used to seeing. And I know Justin Fields is a hard quarterback to game plan. He causes you a lot of problems, but this is the type of game that these Steelers rushers are made for. Get after Sam Darnold, put some pressure on the passer. Steeler defense has to come to play.
And Sam Darnold is notorious for holding the football a little longer. Watch out, man. TJ Watt could have a huge game.
To go back to this Pittsburgh offense, they got a tough test today, though. The Seahawks front is stout. They play tough. And listen, they only had 50 yards rushing last week, right? Those play-action passes working. To your point, Teddy, I don't think they can rely on 4 touchdown passes every single week out of Aaron. They do need to get better in the run game. They weren't great at it last week, but again, it's a tough test against Seattle.
2.7 a carry.
Again, it was the Rodgers revenge game last week. It was also a Justin Fields revenge game last week. And while the Jets didn't get the win, he looked terrific, and he'll go up against the Bills coming up in the early window today. A critical AFC East showdown. A lot of people around New York excited about the way Fields looked in week 1. We'll see if the Jets can back it up today. So much news on this Sunday. Adam Schefter, what's coming up?
All right, Greeny, coming up, we'll share a surprising draft day twist that led to Shedeur Sanders landing with the Cleveland.
Adam Schefter, a lot of noise between these teams, and you've uncovered some fascinating news about another way these teams are connected as of this spring.
All right, Greeny, was all set. A consensus had been reached. The Baltimore Ravens, were planning to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round with the 141st overall selection. But when he found out, he got word back to the Ravens.